coming up. So could I take him seriously when he put the bunny mask on and was supposed to be like parading in front of a camera for a dark web website? And no, I couldn't. Today, I am back with another 2025 release that appears to be flying under a lot of people's radars. And when I say that nobody is talking about this, I mean there is currently, I think, 58 reviews on IMDb and roughly the same over on Letterboxd, and it is getting very mixed reviews. There's a lot of half stars and there's a lot of 5 stars going on. So I'm interested to see where I fall in this one. But if you don't know anything about Sugarcane from 2025, let me quickly fill you in. Sugarcane from 2025 is a horror thriller mystery. A race against a sadistic killer is on as a trafficked survivor relentlessly works to track down a teenage girl whose fate becomes increasingly grim with each passing hour since her abduction. If you're new here, I'm Hannah, I go by Hordes Online, and I am the head of the Horde here on my channel, Hordes of Horror. And if you're not new, welcome back. I talk about horror movies here on my channel on Mondays and Fridays, but as always, when it comes to watching movies that I have never seen before, I'm now going to go and watch Sugarcane off camera. So that way, if you too want to watch this movie that is inspired by the dark web's Rooms of the Red variety, nothing will be spoilt for you, because nobody wants to watch a movie that you've just watched somebody else watch from start to finish, because then you're going to know exactly what happens. And I keep it spoiler free here on my channel, because nobody, and I mean nobody, likes spoilers.
Help! Stranger! Stranger! Danger!
Plex, you are killing me here with the amount of adverts that you have. I'm getting flashbacks to last year when I watched Are We Not Cats, and I had the urge to launch my TV out of the window because the amount of ads that Plex gives you is just taking the piss at this point.
Stop it. Get some help.
And yes, this is available on Plex. It was either watch it on Plex or pay on Amazon Prime. And I'm beginning to think that I should have probably just paid to watch this on Amazon Prime. We'll start with the plot, so cue me sounding absolutely insane to appease the YouTube gods this time, because I've got to try and keep this one YouTube friendly. This plot starts off with a girl named Phoebe who is 17, she's working at a coffee shop, and then she meets Arthur. Now, Arthur is our serial killer. His identity is never hidden from the viewer at any point. Like, it's very obvious who he is and who he's going to be in this movie. They meet at a coffee shop, and he is watching a website on the dark web called Sugarcane, and this is a Room of the Red variety where anybody who steals a human can live stream on there, and people can pay for you to all of these things in a non-lethal way. And they can pay you with Bitcoin, and on the third day, the person who bids the highest can decide how the stolen person is eliminated out of existence. Now, Arthur decides that he wants to be part of this website. He steals Phoebe, and then it jumps to when we meet Mari, and Mari is a survivor of this website. She managed to escape the person who stole her, and she sees that Phoebe has been stolen thanks to a newspaper article, and she decides that she and her brother are going to try and find her before it gets to day 3.
You're a bad, bad man.
Being a lower budget indie movie, I did decide to rein my expectations in a little bit of this one, but I saw somebody on Letterboxd describe this movie as a mix of the movies The House That Jack Built and The Den, but I'm gonna have to take this person's word for it, because while I have seen The Den, I haven't seen The House That Jack Built, so I can at least vouch for one of these two movies. If you've seen both, you will probably see where the similarities come from both of these. Now, this movie is not going to be for everyone, because it is, like I said, about Rooms of the Red variety on the dark web, and nobody is getting like cuddled or hugged or like tickled out of existence. Like, that's not what's going to happen in a red room. It's going to be gritty, it's going to be grim, it's going to be done on a low budget, it's going to be using things that you could probably find down at your local hardware store. And this seems to be where a lot of people kind of have a little issue with this movie, because You are shown a couple of victims throughout the movie. Like, you see somebody right at the very beginning, you know about Mari, and then you've got Phoebe as well, and all the victims in this movie are women. So there's an argument as to, like, is this going for, like, a violence against women thing? Like, but I'm going to come to this movie's defense and say I don't think it is that, but I think had they shown a male victim as well, it would have gone massively in this movie's favour, and people then couldn't make this argument about this film. It's never actually stated on the, like, rules for the Sugarcane website, like, who you have to be to partake in it and who you have to steal to partake in it. Like, as far as I am concerned, and from what I could figure out, anybody, and I mean absolutely anybody, could be in both of these roles. Not that you'd want to be in either of these roles, but you catch my drift.
Scooby-Doo, take note.
I need to take a big moment to talk about Arthur, who is our serial killer who has never actually killed anybody before. So, is he a serial killer? No, he's not. He's a man who could potentially be a murderer, but he's certainly not a serial killer. There are going to be people that find Arthur quite terrifying, but unfortunately there is one thing going against this man that absolutely ruins him as a killer for me, and that is the fact that when he puts on the bunny mask, he changes his voice ever so slightly, and he sounds like Salad Fingers. Like, if you're a millennial, you should know who Salad Fingers is. If you don't, I will insert a clip. So, could I take him seriously when he put the bunny mask on and was supposed to be, like, parading in front of a camera for a dark web website? And no, I couldn't.
You taste like sunshine dust.
The first hour is a lot of, like, slow plodding, and you see a lot of Arthur's life. And they do something which I am personally not a fan of in horror, and that is they try to make you feel sympathetic or empathetic for the bad guy. I like my bad guys to be like, I want them to be like, I am driven purely by my instinct to kill people. I don't have a single good part in me. Just let me be bad and wreck house. That's the sort of person that I want in this kind of movie. And they try to go for Arthur is a carer for a parent, and as somebody who is also a carer for a parent, I can relate to this. But there are also thousands of us also out there, and I guarantee that most of us have never sat down and thought, you know what, how about I steal another human being and, like, earn some Bitcoin out of it? Like, I don't understand how, because he's a carer for a parent, he's, like, immediately supposed to be, like, let off the hook because he's not all that bad. Arthur is one hell of an emotional wreck as a character. He's the sort of lonely nobody who nobody really talks to or spends any time with, and I get it. Loneliness is an epidemic all in itself. And the actor that plays Arthur does one hell of an incredible job. He is the best thing in this entire movie, and his performance is, like, it's completely stand out in this movie compared to everybody else. But I get the feeling, and again, this is just a hunch that I have, that Arthur is supposed to be somebody who has high-functioning autism. Like, there's certain things that he does and certain things that he says. Like, it feels very much like this character has been inspired by somebody who has high-functioning autism. And while this is not confirmed, I think if you start looking for it, it's certainly coded in there, which again makes me like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this person as a killer. You're already going for an empathetic, sympathetic viewpoint for him, and now you want to code him in a certain way where it's like, well, he can't all be bad because there's this thing potentially about him. You know what I mean?
I don't understand, bitch. I don't understand.
Mari, who is our survivor, is kind of wallpaper. You know, she's just kind of there. She occasionally pops up to move the plot along, but I couldn't really care about her either way. I understand that she's, like, there to try and save Phoebe, but she's, like, you know, there's nothing really stand out about Mari. She's just like, you could replace her with any other girl and, you know, nothing would change about who she is as a character. Mari's boss, though, Dan, bless him, bless this man, like, I have never found a boss in real life who would genuinely say to his employees, like, you have worked for how many days straight take some time off, go away, like refresh, reset, and come back like in a couple of days. Like, never. These sort of bosses do not exist in the real world. I'm convinced of this, but that is Dan in this movie with his glorious, glorious beard. So I've got a little bit of a soft spot for Dan. I know he's only a tiny character in this, but like, if there were more Dans as bosses in the real world, I think there'd be a lot more people who were actually happy in their jobs.
Do your job!
And back to the plot again. So, the last 20 minutes of this movie, have you ever watched something and it just felt too convenient? Like, absolutely everything lines up perfectly. There's no, like, drama or tension or threat. And that's kind of how the end of this movie feels. Like, Mari, things happen with her, things happen with Phoebe. And then everything is like a chain of dominoes and it just all knocks into each other. And I was like, yeah, I would have liked a bit more drama. I'd have liked a bit more tension. I'd have liked a little bit more, like, going on in those last 20 minutes. It's your finale for the end of the day. It doesn't help either that Tubi decided to give me a 4-minute advert when there was only 5 minutes left to go of the movie, and the end 5 minutes of the movie don't actually involve the Sugarcane website, like, at all, or Arthur, and I really couldn't have cared. Like, I'd have been happy if everybody had just, like, ended things 5 minutes before they did that. Then Tubi wouldn't have had to give me those 4 minutes of adverts.
Choices.
The practical effects, they aren't too bad. There's some, like, cuts, there's staples at one point, there's some weapons that get used, so there's a bruising and that kind of thing. But I cannot forgive Mari's, like, beige sausage scars. Like, absolutely not. It's like nobody told the makeup artist about Mayron or Krylon's, like, there's like a sort of paint on ridge stuff that you can use and it sort of pulls your skin together and it creates a scar. So some of that with a lip liner pencil would have gone an awfully long way in like actually building up the believability, and instead it looked like Mari had beige worms crawling under her skin where somebody had applied sort of like a special effects putty really thickly on her arms. So I'm pulling them up for that. But the rest of the practical effects, I will let them get away with. That and Arthur's mask kind of reminds me of the splicers from the BioShock games. Like, you know, if one bunny ear was broken off, it would have just been a splicer if somebody had covered it in Tipp-Ex.
Eat carrot, bunny boy.
In the end, I am actually going to give Sugarcane from 2025 a 2.5 out of 5 stars. This is certainly not the worst indie horror movie that I have ever seen by a long shot. Like, I'm going to give 1 star to Michael, insert name here, who plays Arthur. His performance is like, he should be in a different movie that isn't this. Like, he is acting the socks off of absolutely everybody else. I'm going to give it a 1 star for the first hour because that's where all the interesting stuff really is. And I am going to give it half a star for the fact that they actually did basic research into rooms of the red variety on the dark web and how they actually, you know, work and how people find them and how people can participate in them. So I can't knock them for actually going away and doing the research. But my opinion isn't the only one that matters, which begs the question, should you personally watch Sugarcane from 2025? If you like your horror movies flavoured with dark web inspired plots, potential killers, homemade bunny masks, victims of the abduction variety, or anything that is listed here, then you might like Sugarcane from 2025. So there you have it, my initial thoughts and my review for my first time watching Sugarcane from 2025. If you've also seen this movie, I would love to know what your thoughts and opinions are on it down in the comment section down below. And if you are interested in watching it, as always, there will be a link to justwatch.com so you can find out where it is streaming in your country. If you would like to know where else you can find me, I'm also over on Instagram and Letterboxd at HordesOfHorror, and she's got a Patreon, you'll see it linked at the end. And that's at Hordes of Horror and absolutely everywhere, and I post every single horror movie that I watch, not just the ones that I talk about here on YouTube. But speaking of YouTube, I'll be back on Friday, and this time it's a recommendations list again. Like maybe a month ago, I did a recommendations list for movies that you should watch on Amazon Prime. So this time I'm going to be telling you 8 horror movies that you need to watch on Shudder, because if I'm paying for a subscription service, I want to know that there's actually some good stuff on there to watch in the first place. So until next time, bye. A special thank you though to my regenerators here within the Horde for their support over on Patreon.